Good morning and welcome to the Liberty Never Sleeps Patriot Podcast, the most banned podcast on social media. I'm your host, Tom Purcell. You can follow the show at our website at libertyneversleeps.com, where you find links to us on all the social media sites. The show is available to subscribe to also on iHeartRadio, Spotify, iTunes, or your favorite streaming device. Make sure to subscribe to our show on one of these services and hit the little bell button to get daily updates. If you would like to get ad-free content, we have a membership club. Details are at libertyneversleeps.com. Continue to get stronger. I'm not going to do many podcasts next week because I've got a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot of follow-ups. But they tell me I keep getting better, keep getting healthier. So cross your fingers, and we're going to have some more tests next week and begin the prelude to radiation. We'll see how that goes. They tell me that there's no side effects, and it's not like the old days where you lose all your hair. It's targeted, radiation where they focus on specific spots. It's been a long 5 months, I got to tell you, with the chemotherapy, and there were times when I just wanted to die. But I now know it's all worth it, and if I had to go through it again, I would. So there's always that chance that it pops up again, and you've got to go through it again. I'm going to go through it. Like I said, the show is too important to me, and you listeners who have donated to the show through these long 5 months are probably the best loyal customers I've ever had. And I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to live through this, and I'm going to continue to do podcasts because we need it. We're coming up on an election next year, and there is so much garbage and malfeasance and criminality by this administration. We got to get rid of these guys, and we need as many voices on this side of the aisle as we can. We're at a critical juncture in this country, much more so than it's been in the last few years. You now see what the Democrats have in store for this nation. I told you, they're going to take what they did in California and try and make it nationwide. It's the only way a socialistic, orgiastic, communist, Maoist regime can survive, by constantly gobbling up the money and expanding its influence throughout the world. And then when the money runs out, so does everything else. So we got to stop them. We got to stop from making America into something that it's not. It's not a democracy. It's a republic. It's a free nation based on rugged individualism, not teamwork, not socialism, not emptying the granaries, not a society of victims. We've been going over these subjects over the last few weeks. It's crazy what's going on in this country. And we'll talk about some of the things today about, like, the Nebraska went with a 12-week abortion ban, and the left went crazy. Got to talk about Target, the FBI, the voter propositions, negotiating with these criminals. We're in the middle of negotiating with a criminal regime. That's what it is. On the budget debt, $31 trillion in debt. There's nothing to negotiate. But we'll talk about that too. But before we get into that, I don't talk about the royal families very much, except in pejorative terms. There was a story about Harry and Meghan Markle getting followed by paparazzi, and there'd be a 2-hour car chase through the streets of New York. Now, there's no doubt that Markle and Harry get followed by paparazzi everywhere. The American people are like the English people in a large part. They're in love with the royal family. I don't know why. I don't know how it began. I don't know what it's all about. I want nothing to do with the royal family that has robbed, raped, and looted and pillaged its way to wealth, and then has the nerve to give some of it back and call it charity. So Harry and Meghan said they don't want anything to do with the royal family. We want to live a private life. Yet they're constantly demanding attention from the media. It's no wonder the paparazzi follows them. We just want a private life. But then they come out with this wild story about being chased for hours. Now, look, I get it. Paparazzi follow them. Why do you run? You're going to be wherever you're going to. Why bother running? Why bother driving through streets at high speeds when you know it killed your mother? Why would you do that? Why on earth would you make an announcement that we're tired of being followed by paparazzi? That's the nature of the beast. If you want to be a princess, if you want to be a prince, We just want to live a private life. But we're constantly holding press conferences. We're constantly announcing new books. We're constantly making up stories about a wild chase through the streets of New York. You can't go anywhere at high speed in New York. For those of you who traveled there, been there, there is no way that you could drive around the city of New York at high speed for more than 2 hours. It's only 12 miles fucking wide. 12 miles. You can't get it. It might take 2 hours to cross town, but it ain't at high speed. And not to mention the fact how many paparazzi could be following you through the streets of New York. Why would you even go to New York if you wanted a private life? Why aren't you living out in the country somewhere where nobody's going to bother you? I mean, that's just kind of begging for it, isn't it? And then this story about 2 hours, and everyone says, that didn't happen. There might have been a chase. It might have been for a few minutes, maybe 20 minutes in New York traffic. But it wasn't no 2 hours. I guess when you come up with a story like that, right, it means you're demanding attention. It means you want somebody to follow you. You want all that attention. And I know they do, because she's trying to make some sort of career in acting or in being a famous person. They're famous for being famous. And they still get a share of the royal estate. Even though they're not doing their royal duties, they still get money. They still don't have any problem living wherever they want or however they want. They could live a private life tomorrow. All they got to do is retreat. All they got to do is retreat to a countryside, house, and just live an ordinary life. Get the paper delivered in the morning, have some breakfast, go back to bed. Why? You don't want a private life. You want the attention. You're in love with it. You're in love with the camera. You're in love with being famous. You like that attention. I don't care what you say. You love it. So whatever. Harry and Michael, 2 hour chase. This is so typical of the left. It's typical limousine liberalism, right? You gotta demand everyone else act a certain way, but you don't act that way, and then you get upset when you get called out on it. They're all upset now. Oh, they're making fun of us in the media again. Well, you come out with a story like that. Is it that what's in their mind? Is that how they saw it? Maybe the problem is their view of reality. Like they drove in a car fast for 20 minutes trying to get away from paparazzi, which you can't, because they're just going to be wherever you're going. And they thought it was 2 hours. Like they were long suffering for 2 hours. It is. It's their own illusion of what their life is. This is classic liberalism. You have an illusion about what your life is. You think that you're a man when you're a woman. You think you have a penis and a period at the same time. You have no idea. You don't know how people live. It's like Joe Biden has no idea where our economy is the best economy ever. You're paying $6 for a friggin' carton of eggs and $5 a gallon for gas. And he has the nerve to say best economy ever. People are losing jobs left and right. People are dropping out of the workforce because they don't want to work anymore. They want to play around on YouTube, and they want to create like a social media influence and show pictures of themselves jumping off hotels in the pools. Apparently that's America now. We're just a bunch of narcissists, empty-headed narcissists driving through traffic, worried about photographers when you secretly desire it, subconsciously or consciously. Meghan and Harry are emblematic of an American, decadent, decrepit, derelict American society. We got to move on. I got to talk about Nebraska and about democracy and about freedom of speech and all that and representative government. We'll be right back after this brief break.